So, January the 6th is usually the end of Christmas for all us ordinary folk. It's called Little Christmas. It's also called uh, Women's Christmas in Ireland. But in churches, it's another phase of Christmas. And to the nativity scene in churches are added usually three more figures, three rather exotic figures, usually with camels. And they are the three wise men, or the three wise kings, or the Magi. And they, of course, were led by a star to pay homage to Jesus as King of the Jews in Bethlehem. And legend has given them three names: Melchior, Balthasar, and Caspar. So I'm going to, because there are three of them, I'm going to try and attempt what I call a Magi trilogy, if you like. So the first piece is called Balthasar. It's written by the poet Gerard Benson, along the lines of the T.S. Eliot classic, A Cold Coming We Had of It. And it's the story from Balthasar's point of view. Then I'm bookending that, if you like, with the T.S. Eliot classic, The Journey of the Magi, which I fancy is probably Melchior telling the story. And in between, I've put a little piece, which I think might be Caspar, regretting his... sorry, that's just the dog running in. Caspar regretting his encounter with Herod. And it's called I Never Trusted Herod, and it's by Jan Dean. Herod, for those who don't know the story, Herod feared a rival king of the Jews, and so he ordered the slaughter of all male children under the age of 2. And Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, their family escaped by fleeing into Egypt, and thus for all time identifying with refugees. So this is the Magi trilogy. If you do hear any extraneous noises, it's Mitzi, the dog, running in and out, so there's not a lot I can do about that. But I hope you enjoy it. Take care for the moment. Yes, it was cold, of course, especially the nights. But we had furs and tents, good fires and lights. The camel men were unruly, but they always are. You couldn't really complain. And that fantastic star impressed even them. Melchior kept on about the cold, but he wasn't well. And face it, he was too old for such a journey. For Caspar and me, though, I'd say it was a true adventure. So exciting. A great day for astrology, too. Just as we predicted. Everything. Time, place, birth, animals. It's true. The king wasn't quite what we thought. A bit of a disappointment, but we left our gifts, the gold, the herbs, the ointment, made our speeches. The mother didn't seem too amazed, seemed to have expected us. And no, it hasn't raised the profile of astrology. A good 30 years have passed, and what with these Jerusalem riots, all that has got lost. But I shan't forget the absolute delight of that strange journey. And we were all three quite certain something world-changing had happened that night. With his bright, beady eye, with his pink, slippery smile, and his "see you by and by." I never trusted Herod. So why did I tell him what I knew of the star in the sky? I never trusted Herod, with his hand on my arm, promising he meant the best, saying, "There's no harm." I never trusted Herod. But I blabbed just the same, shut my mouth off, said too much, and so I feel to blame for what happened, for the soldiers who, when finally they came, I dream a lot of Herod. I dream we never met, and all those little children are happy, living yet. In my dreams the snow shines white. The ice does not melt red, but when I wake I find that still the dead are dead. And the baby, did he find him? We left so fast I never knew. The baby underneath the star, did they kill him too? A cold coming we had of it. Just the worst time of the year for a journey. and such a long journey. The ways deep and the weather sharp, the very dead of winter. And the camels galled, sore-footed, refractory, lying down in the melting snow. There were times we regretted the summer palaces on slopes, the terraces, and the silken girls bringing sherbet. Then the camel men cursing and grumbling and running away and wanting their liquor and women, and the night fires going out, and the lack of shelters, and the cities hostile and towns unfriendly, and the villages dirty and charging high prices. A hard time we had of it. At the end, we preferred to travel all night, sleeping in snatches, with the voices singing in our ears, saying that this was all folly. Then at dawn we came down to a temperate valley, wet below the snow line, smelling of vegetation, with a running stream and a water mill beating the darkness, and 3 trees on the low sky, and an old white horse galloped away in the meadow. Then we came to a tavern with vine leaves over the lintel, 6 hands at an open door, dicing for pieces of silver, and feet kicking the empty wineskins. But there was no information. And so we continued and arrived at evening, not a moment too soon finding the place. It was, you may say, satisfactory. All this was a long time ago, I remember, and I would do it again. But set down this. Were we led all that way for birth or death? There was a birth, certainly. We had evidence and no doubt. I had seen birth and death, but I thought they were different. This birth was hard and bitter agony for us, like death, our death. We returned to our places, these kingdoms, but no longer at ease here in the old dispensation, with an alien people clutching their gods. I should be glad of another death. And so, there you have it, my Magi trilogy. So, let's hope this year brings us what we need rather than what we think we want. And indeed, let's hope that it's no worse than the year just gone. Bye-bye. Take care.